Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Brad Walter, and today I'm going to be talking about the flight scenario from Charleston, West Virginia, Kilo Charlie Romeo Whiskey, to Cape May, New Jersey, Kilo Whiskey Whiskey Delta. Right off the bat, a couple of hazards or concerns that I see throughout the scenario are some of the experience by the pilot that's getting ready to fly this. Overall, a lot of experience, but in some specific areas, not the greatest experience, I would say. Then also the aircraft, the person is kind of new to flying the Diamond, so that can be a bit of a concern. And then the route, there's obviously some tricky areas along the route from West Virginia to New Jersey. So we'll jump right into it. It's going to be a day VFR cross-country flight, so that's a good thing. The weather looks pretty good. The straight line distance is saying 361 miles in the scenario. On ForeFlight, I came up with about 316, so a little bit of a discrepancy there, but not a big deal. The couple areas of concern that I saw were having to transit through the Washington, D.C. SFRA, the Special Flight Rules area. So that 30 and 60 mile, or the 60-mile ring around Washington, D.C. There are some special requirements that the pilot, if they do choose to transit through there, that they're going to have to be aware of. So the major one is you have to have training. You have to do some required training, and then there's a few other steps that training dictates to you that you have to maintain as far as equipment on your airplane, what you need to have, and what type of flight plan you're going to be filing to transit through that airspace if you choose to do so. The other option is obviously to route yourself around that airspace, so that'll just extend the trip a little bit longer, but it'll help you to be able to avoid that airspace if that's what you choose to do. So for me, I would probably just route myself a little bit south of that area to stay away from it. I think it would just make the trip a little bit easier and make it just be able to stay out of that area altogether. As far as the pilot, instrument rated, commercial rated pilot with 1,500 hours, that's great. As far as experience though, 95 hours across country, that's not a ton of time, and then 30 hours of night flying shouldn't be an issue, shouldn't be flying at night on this one, and then 10 hours in actual IMC, so not too bad, just a little bit short on the cross country time is what I would gather from that. And then as far as the airplane, you're used to and comfortable with the Cessna 172, and you're checking out a Diamond DA-40 that you only have about 8 hours of experience in, so that's kind of raises a red flag for me. You're very comfortable with the Cessna, but only 8 hours of experience in the Diamond. Shouldn't be too much different, but I would definitely want to make sure you're comfortable with that airplane before you fly it 360 miles cross country. The aircraft itself seems like a fine aircraft. It's got G1000 avionics, which is great to use. It's got traffic information system, XM weather data link. That's all awesome for the trip that's about to be flown. As far as the route as well, most likely with that aircraft, you'll probably have to plan a stop at some point to get fuel along the way. It's got usable fuel of either 30 or 34 gallons depending on what tanks it has. So that would probably get you close. You come close to doing the whole trip in one shot, but I would just plan for a stop along the route. That way it's not a surprise to you if you need to stop and get fuel. As far as the environment goes, departure and destination are both VFR. That's great. It's hot, so it's something to be aware of. And density altitude is going to be a little bit higher. And there are some areas along the route too that have that's some mountainous terrain. I believe 5,200 feet was one of the highest areas that I saw for mountainous terrain along the route. So definitely something to be aware of when you're planning your altitude for the route. I'm going to be leaving at 6:30 a.m. local time, so that'll be great. The weather should be nice in the morning, and yeah, should be a pretty good flight. Just have to be careful in planning the route, to either do your homework and be able to transit through the SFRA DC area, or go around it, and then also plan to have a stop in there just in case. As far as external pressures, there's always external pressures to any flight, and this one is been planning this flight for a long time and wants to meet up with some friends and family for vacation. And another little tidbit there is the weather's supposed to be deteriorating for the next day, so you'll have to look into, if you're running into an issue today, the next day the weather's not going to be so nice, so you may have to end up pushing that if you can't complete the flight in the day that you plan on. And then if the weather's deteriorating the next day, you have to figure out when you plan your return flight. That'll be a whole nother scenario, but just keeping that in the back of your mind, you don't want to get stuck there for a long time if you're not planning on staying for a long time. Well, that pretty much covers this flight training scenario. Hope you all got something out of it, and I will hope to learn something from you all as well.